Welcome to Let's Talk Relationships Coast to Coast. I'm Alyssa Glickman. I'm here in New York, and I'm here with Chuck Starnes in California. Hi,
Hi,
Chuck.
hi, Alyssa. So good to be with you. Today, we're talking about safe conversations in the workplace. And we have a workshop that's coming up. It's going to be on April the 9th, which is a Friday. So we want to encourage you. You can check the link in our reply section or our comment section, and you can join us for 3 hours. And we're going to be talking about how to keep the space in the workplace safe for conversations, not the kind of safety when it comes to physical safety, but we're talking about relational safety, which we know research has shown adds to productivity, creativity, and the bottom line results.
Exactly. I'm so excited about doing this workshop. So yes, we're going to be applying a lot of the concepts that we learn about how to have healthy relationships, but using them in the workplace.
Today, we want to talk about how do you respond to someone who's overreacting or who's treating you unfairly. So I have a little uh, scenario here I'd like to present. And Alyssa, just ask you, how would you respond? Okay. Your boss has called you into her office. And when you get there, she's very upset at you and starts accusing you of missing a deadline on a report that you were to submit. And she says this has put her in a terrible place with her superiors. But she seems to have forgotten that last week she asked you to shift your priorities, to ask you to move your efforts toward calling and making new sales. And at the time, she told you this was the priority. So you acted on that, but now she's yelling at you. How do you respond?
Okay. Well, I think typically what people would do if they, didn't learn some of these skills is they might do one of two things. They would feel blamed. They would be upset, probably really angry, feel this is really unfair. So really confused. So they might shut down, and because they don't know how to deal with those feelings of anger, it feels really negative. They might shut down and really hold it in and just sort of yes her to, like, but in their mind just saying, this is ridiculous, it's so unfair, and really not appreciate that. The other way they could go is they could get more reactive and go back at her, and then that probably wouldn't go in a good direction and would not, leave the person feeling really confident about their place and how they handled it. So those are two options that might typically happen that don't feel good for the person.
Right. You wouldn't want to blow up at your boss. That's not a good policy.
No.
But the first option you said, you don't want to walk away and carry this because it's obviously there's a misunderstanding, there's unfair treatment. But one of the things that we cover in our workshop has to do with brain science. And what we realize is that when that kind of thing happens, my brain, my lower brain, I'm talking about the brain stem, the limbic system where my memories are, connects with things in the past, and it causes a reaction when I'm attacked or accused or there's injustice. And the first thing that I have to deal with is my own reaction. And so the skills, the safe conversation skills, are designed to help you do just that,
Right.
to help you stay in a place where uh, there's a potential, and it doesn't always work, but there's a potential that you can make the conversation safe. You can turn it around. So,
Mm.
what are some of the things that you would do in that situation? How would you apply the skills?
Well, I just want to say that having that choice, learning these skills, that when you create safety in the relationship, then you could be heard, and that really gives that person who's feeling really powerless in that situation a sense of power in a positive way.
Mm,
So, we're going to learn in the workshop some skills that can really help in this situation. So when somebody comes at you with something that feels confusing or out of line, what we say is you could use the skill of mirroring, just mirror.
mm,
Boss woman, whatever your name is, let's just say Susan. Susan, I'm hearing that that you're feeling upset that the number that we didn't get this information in time, and you want me to focus on this. Is that right? Did I get that? So
Yes.
it's something for you to do and answer and feel, and she can feel like you heard her, and it starts to diffuse the situation. And then she can talk from a calmer place once she feels heard. So it starts to create safety in the space between.
Yeah, it sounds far-fetched. It sounds something that's like, what you're going to say. So what I hear you saying is that I missed the deadline and that you're in trouble now. It sounds far-fetched. It sounds like, why would I do that? But the challenge is to not let it become negative. It's
Right.
already negative, but your response can either turn it one way or it can keep it negative. And I like what you said. You're mirroring first. You're saying what I hear you saying. Okay, so you're in trouble. So I missed a deadline. Did I get it? And that has a chance. Doesn't always work, but it has a chance of calming things down. Certainly, the other two alternatives, going silent or going, ballistic, don't they don't stand a chance of making it safe. But if you stop and you say, because what you want to do is you want to realize your boss is not doing this because they're trying to be hurtful. They're doing this because they probably genuinely forgot. But already my brain is flooded with anger and reaction and upset because I'm being accused, right? But if I can step out of that, I love what you just said. That there's a choice. I
Mhm.
can't control the first thought that I have, but I can control my second thought. And my second thought is, why would someone like this become curious? I mean, become curious. Why
Right.
would someone like this be so react? Obviously, they forgot, you
Right.
see. And so then if I can say, so what you're saying, rather than defending myself immediately, or rather than saying, well, just a minute, don't you remember? Because then you're just creating to the conflict. I mean, you're adding to the conflict. But if you could just stop what I hear you saying, and then that wonderful word, did I get it? Is there more about that? So that and those stems, those sentence prompts might be more for me at that moment than for her. But let me see if I got you. Is this what you're saying? Yes. And so then what would be another step after that?
Well, I just want to say, so what that does is it calms her down and you down. So going to the sentence stems and asking and mirroring really starts to calm your own brain down and your boss's brain. So so it's already starting to really calm the situation down. After that, after you ask, is there more? And she answers you, then you could really validate. That makes sense. And what makes sense is, that we missed a deadline and we really have to make a deadline. That really makes sense. And then you can ask if that, and I would just leave it at that actually. Just kind of send that validation, and then she will feel heard and know that you got what the situation is and what the problem is.
Mm,
So that will help her feel safer, because
right.
she was feeling unsafe because there was a deadline missed, and then and she got some heat for that.
Yes. And the way I like to look at it is the sentence stems by saying, hey, let me see if I got what you're saying. That keeps me in this upper part of my brain, in the neocortex. It keeps me present, not leaving or not reacting, overreacting. But it keeps me present, helps me. Now, whether it helps her in the moment, that I have no control over. And she might come with another barrage. Yes, and it's because of you and blah blah blah. So you're saying, and I would just stay with that until it would potentially have the effect you're saying, calming her down. She's being heard.
Mhm.
And then validation, you mentioned. So mirroring is first with the stems. Did I get it? Is there more about that?
Mhm.
Staying curious,
Mhm.
just mirroring.
Mhm.
And then secondly, validating says, although I may see it differently, you make sense. And what makes sense is, and then after you validated and you feel your boss has been heard, then you might go to another step. I call it just simply responding, or the other part of the dialogue. It is a dialogue. It's not just one way, right? And then maybe if you could say, I have a somewhat different take on this. Is this a good time? Can I share my perspective with you? You
Mhm.
see, and then if then you're in it potentially, I'm just saying potentially because but potentially now you're in a dialogue, and you can say, if you recall last week, you told me to shift my focus and make calls. I was under the understanding this is what I was supposed to do. I was putting the report off intentionally, but I thought it was at your direction.
Mhm.
Chances of being heard with that is far greater if you listen first and try to understand first, right?
Yes, yes. I mean, really, this is, a much better chance of being heard and of having a much better outcome, in terms of what could happen. And, instead of going into a conflict and going head to head, or retreating and just feeling like you're seething inside and burning up and going home and, being in a bad mood, to have this gives us a way to not retreat, to speak up, to have a voice in a really positive way. So, I'm really excited about using these skills that we teach often, with couples or families in the workplace, and to, give people a sense that they can be heard, they can create more positivity, and they have and this gives them, a secret power, essentially.
It is. It's like a secret superpower.
Yeah.
And one of the benefits of it is personally having peace. I don't know about you, but I know that when I can regulate my reactions and stay present, I
Hmm.
I have this personal peace even if I'm being wrongly accused. I
Hmm.
mean, I have to maybe have a little bit of time to get get through the emotions, fight through the emotions, but staying present is going to give you peace. Have you experienced personal peace through the skills?
Definitely. Definitely. When I feel like I have, made a different choice and kept things more positive, kept the negativity out of my reactions, and I see how it affects the other person, it's just a really wonderful feeling, and it enhances the relationships. So I've done this at work, I've done this with my children, with my husband, and it really just it's a wonderful tool, and it just it's something you don't want to do without.
You
It's
don't
really
want to do without, because fundamentally we are connected in the universe. And when we feel that connection, we have the kind of peace you're talking about. There's connection, there's a sensation running through our body of feeling alive, feeling joyful, feeling present in the moment. And that's what I was talking about is I love it that these skills give me this, even in the times of stormy relationships, you have that. And it's whatever you have in you, that's what you bring to the relationship. That's what you bring into the world. And
Mhm.
so the idea of feeling and then let's say this boss and employee were able to work it out and connect, then there would be a sense of joyful uh, connection, and actually that is what will uh, give people more satisfaction in the job when you're actually staying connected with your coworkers. To
Mhm.
give you more capacity to work together as a functioning team, being maximum in your creativity, and
Mhm.
being ultimately productive and being motivated, being all of those wonderful things that are needed in business happen when relationships are safe.
Definitely, definitely. I'm Yes, definitely. People really want to, feel safe in the work environment. People want to create, be productive, and not have negativity. So I'm really excited that we're going to be doing this and sharing these tools with people so that they can have the power to really change their work environment and make things more positive, like in their relationships, one person at a time. So
Right. Yeah.
I'm really looking forward.
One person at a time. I like that. I can't do anything about everything, but I can do something. And that can start with one person at a time, one relationship at a time, one conversation at a time. I love that. So join us on April 9th. That's a Friday morning. It's 9 o'clock here in California. It'll be 12 o'clock noon in New York. And we'll post the times and the link where you can find out more information and register. We look forward to seeing you there, or we look forward to seeing you next week, where we're going to talk about a second aspect, and that is when listening to someone who is disengaging,
Right.
or to where you use your skills to help someone in the workplace that's disengaged find out what's going on and reconnect them so that you can continue to be a functioning, productive team.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Look forward to seeing
See
you.
you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.